Headlines: tension in Jos as community primary school demolished over land dispute. Stakeholders call for action against online gender-based violence. Ekiti court grants Farotimi 50 million naira bail. And on the international scene, Syrians rejoice as Assad family's 50-year rule ends. President flees to Moscow. It's the news update on Trust TV. Hello and welcome. I am Aisha Salihu. The news in detail. Tension has gripped Jos, the Plateau State capital, following the demolition of a newly constructed primary school in the Filin Sokoa community of Jos North local government area on Sunday. Our correspondent reports that security personnel, including DSS and the police, have been deployed to the area to prevent any breakdown of law and order. Community members say the demolition occurred around 3 a.m. after the local security guard was tied up with ropes. This incident follows a long-standing disagreement between Filin Sokoa, Zinaria, Ring Road communities and certain individuals who claim ownership of the land on which the school was built on. An appeal filed in October this year was dismissed, rejecting the land ownership claim against the community. John Koiro Christopher, chairman of Jos North local government area, last week ordered the stoppage of the building, a decision the communities disagreed with. The local security guard, while recounting the incident, said he was suddenly attacked and tied up with ropes around midnight, adding that his attackers, who masked their faces, told him that they were there to demolish the community primary school. Reports say the disputed land houses a healthcare clinic and the primary school. While social media has revolutionized communication and created countless opportunities for individuals and businesses, it has also become a battleground for women and girls worldwide. The silent pandemic of online gender-based violence continues to escalate, transcending borders and leaving devastating impacts in its wake. The report.
As part of the global campaign marking the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, activist Jacinta Igbum, an Nguvu change leader, raises alarm over the intensifying crisis of online gender-based violence. Despite its growing prevalence, the issue remains grossly underreported and inadequately addressed.
The main reason why it is often overlooked compared to other forms of violence is because of our trivialization of this act. Because digitalization has made it easy for opinion sharing and ideologies or biases to be amplified, it's easy for us to not take note of these different forms of online gender-based violence as an actual act of gender-based violence.
Online gender-based violence is a universal issue disproportionately affecting women and girls across all demographics. However, more women are finding the courage to speak up, sparking important conversations and driving the push for systematic change.
A lot of people have gone through it, and because you're not seeing the next person on the other side, that's why I think people are not talking about it, but it is happening. You're seeing a lot of social media dragging, trolling, they're trolling people. These things impact on the way people see themselves, impact on their mental health. People begin to even look down on themselves. And you will see people even committing or attempting to commit suicide because people will come on their DM and troll them, insult them, use bad words.
Now, saying all those words did not really get to me because they were not a true representation of my person. But for about a month, he would take my pictures from my wall and post it on his wall. And he will insult me, talk about my body parts. He would insult my child, call me a single mom, say all sorts of things, talk about my weight.
Beyond the emotional scars, online abuse leaves survivors grappling with profound psychological damage. The repercussions extend to their safety, well-being, and overall quality of life.
people also even begin to have like panic attacks. Maybe they are afraid of even going on social media because they don't know where the next troll is coming from. It impacts on productivity, impacts on people's ability to even interface with others. And it brings a lot of shame and guilt and blame. So it has a huge impact.
I couldn't explain to people that something that someone did online made me become almost depressed. It was something I could not explain because as at that time there was really no media, nothing, surrounding online gender-based violence.
The internet should be a tool for empowerment, not oppression. Together, we must work to end the scourge of online gender-based violence. Tanti Azal, Trust TV, Abuja.
And now to the Green Chambers of the National Assembly. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, has stated that the 10th House has introduced and passed legislation to address gender-based violence and promote gender equity. He made the remark while speaking at the Speaker's State Assembly's Conference Interactive Session on Gender-Responsive Constitutional Reform and Campaign on Ending Violence Against Women and Girls on Monday. He said the gathering was to mark the conclusion of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence campaign, which began on November 25th. Speaker Abbas said the 10th Assembly has amplified these efforts through its legislative agenda, which prioritizes constitutional reforms to promote women's political participation and representation. According to him, the efforts reflect the House recognition of the role women play in governance and the broader society as a cornerstone of families and communities, but whose political representation remains unacceptably low. The Southeast Caucus in the Senate has joined other stakeholders in the polity to call for broader consultations on the tax reform bills currently pending consideration and possible passage by the National Assembly. Leader of the caucus, Senator Einaya Abaribe, made this known during a press briefing after a closed-door meeting with senators from the 5 southeastern states held in his office on Monday. Abaribe underpinned that the Southeast senators are not opposed to the bills but are advocating for extensive consultations with their constituents and key stakeholders before a final decision is made in both chambers of the National Assembly. He further highlighted the need to engage with constituents across the 15 senatorial districts in the Southeast Zone, as well as state governments and other critical stakeholders, while the presidency and the South-South caucus in the Senate have called for the bill's swift consideration. Other groups such as the Nigerian Governors Forum, the Northern Senators Forum, and the Arewa Consultative Forum have echoed the Southeast Caucus' demand for wider consultations. The Federal High Court in Ekiti, the Ekiti State Capital, has granted lawyer and human rights activist Dele Farotimi a 50 million naira bail. The court's decision was disclosed by the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress in the 2023 election, Omoyele Sowore, via his X handle on Monday. Sowore wrote, "The first hurdle was crossed. Dele Farotimi was granted bail of 50 million naira, surety in the like sum with someone with landed property. The case was adjourned to January 29, 2025. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission says it has identified some ministries and agencies in Nigeria that engage in job racketeering and promises to take necessary actions against them in the coming days. The Commission's chairman, Musa Aliyu, made this known while speaking during a high-level seminar to commemorate the 2024 International Anti-Corruption Day. Aliyu also asserted that most younger persons in the country have shown strong resistance to engaging in corrupt practices, which he says means the future of Nigeria won't lack integrity, while weighing in on the issue of sexual harassment in tertiary institutions, he assured that his challenge is at the front burner of the commission, adding that sooner rather than later, the menace will be eradicated. And in health, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention has urged state governments across the country to strengthen public health systems in response to the emergence of a new strain of the coronavirus in parts of the world, though no evidence of the new strain has been found in Nigeria, according to the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare. In a statement on Saturday, NCDC, however, explained that while the JN1 variant, classified as variant of interest, has been reported in Nigeria since January 2024, the XEC subvariant, a descendant of JN1, has not been detected in the country. In its public health advisory on Sunday, the agency emphasized the importance of ensuring that public health infrastructure remains responsive and resilient to address evolving health concerns effectively. It advised states to allocate resources to support laboratories and healthcare facilities, improve surveillance and diagnostic capabilities, and ensure that treatment centers are fully prepared. In addition to providing support, it encouraged the state governments to launch public health campaigns to educate communities on preventive measures and the importance of seeking prompt medical attention. The advisory follows concerns raised by reports of the SARS-CoV-2 XEC subvariant, a descendant of the Omicron lineage, which has been detected in several countries, including Australia. The federal government's National Agricultural Growth Scheme and Agro-Pocket Initiative, designed to boost wheat production in Nigeria, is facing serious setbacks in Jigawa State due to allegations of mismanagement in the distribution of essential farming inputs. These issues came to light during an unannounced visit by Governor Umar Namadi to input distribution centers in Birnin Kudu local government area of the state, where farmers reported being denied access to their allocated resources. The report.
At the distribution centers, numerous beneficiaries were seen stranded, holding their allocation printouts. Many farmers alleged that inputs intended to support their wheat farming efforts were instead being sold to marketers rather than being distributed to them as promised. Received fertilizers and wheat seeds, but no agrochemicals, which are essentials for farming. They had us fill out forms for recovery before, but this time there were no forms provided. This isn't the first time this has happened. I used to walk from our village to collect these farm inputs, but this time I received nothing. The allegations were further exacerbated when agro-dealers at the centers failed to offer satisfactory explanations to the governor's inquiries, raising further concerns about the integrity of the distribution process.
The observation we made is that there is a problem with some of the agro-dealers. In the first instance, they are not redeeming. They don't allow the people to redeem their alert, and some of them are not even there. Especially here, I came here, nobody is here, and it's a redeeming center. Therefore, we are going to report them to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, because this wheat program is a time bound, and as long as these agro dealers will not come and issue the input to the farmers, then we are going to waste our money. The federal government is going to waste its money, and then these people are not doing the right thing.
In a related incident at the distribution center in Kayawa local government area, Governor Namadi ordered the arrest of Isiaku Katanga, chairman of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, for allegedly defrauding farmers by inflating input prices amounting to millions of nairas. Wheat farming experts emphasize that planting must occur between November 14 and December 14 to ensure optimal production timelines. However, with delays and allegations of misconduct at the distribution centers, farmers involved in the program are growing disheartened and uncertain about meeting the critical deadline. The success of the federal government's wheat program in Jigawa now hinges on swift interventions to address these challenges and restore farmers' confidence in the process.
And to other stories, the reading culture in Nigeria is rapidly declining, sparking concern among educationists, librarians, and students. These stakeholders warn that this downward trend could have severe consequences on both human and capital development in the country. Ado Musa tells us more.
Nigeria is now ranked among the lowest countries when it comes to fostering a reading culture. According to the World Culture Statistics, which tracks the reading habits of nations, only 2 African countries, Egypt and South Africa, are considered to have significant reading cultures. In Jos, academic stakeholders believe that despite having established libraries and reading centers, many Nigerians are simply not taking advantage of these resources. They argue that a lack of interest in reading is a major hurdle in the country's effort to improve its reading culture.
The truth is that there are a lot of distractions in the social media, and that is why we see it as actually a problem to reading. But the truth is that as an organization, the National Library of Nigeria is a promoter of reading because this is one of our mandates. And every year we go in for a campaign to promote reading. We have created literacy center in some remote areas.
If you look around the library here, the University of Jos have done its best by providing resources, talking about books, printed form, electronic books, electronic resources are all available, for the students to patronize, But then, as indicated, the poor reading culture is actually very glaring.
Some students also voiced their concerns about the decline of reading habits in the country and its potential impact on their academic and potential growth.
Generally, reading is good, right? And then for you to not have a poor reading culture, it means people don't see the value in reading. And so it will reflect in several things you do. Right. So one of the things that reading helps you to do is to build focus and to build discipline.
Persistent reading before examination, like when you read after class, you should make your researches. You should review some other things related to what you learned in class. Before exams, it will be easy for you.
At times, we students, sincerely speaking, some of us are lazy. Despite the fact that even though the resources are available on the shelves, are lazy in cultivating that reading culture.
So, what can be done to reverse this trend and encourage a stronger reading culture in Nigeria?
I also advise parents. Parents can buy gifts of books instead of buying sweet chocolate, biscuit, and the rest. I think buying books to your children will also make these children to read. I also gone are the days when our parents would sit us down, read stories for us. I think that too can also help. Why? Because by the time you sit your children down, read stories to them, share, you also challenge them to also read a story and then explain it to you.
Educationists warn that the country's poor reading culture is depriving young people of the critical thinking and analytical skills necessary for personal and academic success. They stress the importance of nurturing a reading habit in order to prepare future generations for the challenges ahead. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
The Nigerian Meteorological Agency has predicted hazy and cloudy weather activities across the country from Monday to Wednesday. NIMET's weather outlook released on Sunday in Abuja envisaged the north and north-central regions of the country experiencing dust haze with visibility range of 1 kilometer to 5 kilometers, with localized visibility of less than 1,000 meters throughout the forecast period. According to the forecast, A hazy atmosphere with patches of clouds is anticipated over the southern region of the country. According to NIMET, in the south, early morning mist or fog patches are expected over the coastal region, while sunny skies with patches of clouds are expected to prevail over the inland and the coastal states later in the day. It said on Wednesday, good visibility dust haze is expected during the forecast period in the northern region. NIMET urged the public to take necessary precautions as dust particles are in suspense and advised people with asthmatic health conditions and other respiratory issues to be cautious of the present weather condition and adhere to safety advisories issued by relevant authorities. And to developments away from Nigeria, Syrians flocked to the main square of the capital city, Damascus, on Monday to mark what many regard as a long-awaited new dawn after the fall of President Bashar al-Assad. Assad fled to Russia on Sunday after a lightning offensive spearheaded by Islamist rebels ousted him from power, opening a new chapter in Syria's history after 5 decades of rule by his clan. The end of Assad's rule follows a 14-year civil war sparked by a brutal crackdown on democracy protests. The war killed more than 500,000 people and forced half the population to flee their homes, many millions of them abroad. Assad relied on his alliances with Russia and Iran to remain at the helm despite the mass protest and armed rebellion. But on November 27, a coalition of rebels led by the Islamist Hayat Tahrir al-Sham launched an offensive that tore through the country, wresting control of city after city until they reached Damascus on Sunday. In a matter of days, the grip of the army and security forces collapsed and rebels moved into the main cities of Aleppo, Hama, Dara, and Homs before entering the capital, bringing about an end to decades of Ba'ath Party rule. And finally in sports, Marine and Safety Babes were on Sunday crowned champions of the Ardova Handball Premier League 2024 at the grand finale held at the NIS Gymnasium at the National Stadium in Surulere, Lagos. Marine produced an elite-level performance to defeat Sokoto Rima strikers 36-33 and finished top of the men's standing with 64 points, while Sokoto Rima strikers stayed second with 59 points. Marine became the first Lagos-based side to emerge champions since the Handball League began in Nigeria, and also the first team in the Southwest region in the Open era to win the title. 2023 winners Niger United defeated Correction Boys 38-24 to finish third with 58 points, while Safety Shooters failed to make the podium for the first time since 2019. Sunshine Kings and Confluence Stars were relegated to the lower division. In the women's category, Safety Babes swept an unprecedented fourth straight crown and an overall fifth title after defeating second-placed defender Babes 36-32 to finish top of the table with 54 points. The victory also stretched Safety Babes' winning streak to 53 matches dating back to 2022. Coas Babes and Bendel Dynamos dropped to the second division. And that's about the size of our package for you on the news update at this hour. Remember, you can always follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentaries. I am Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for watching. Join us again.